rolls into Panther territory. T-Mac makes the catch. He did.
That's a heck of a catch. I'm anxious to see it.
Sweetie, if I'm Andrew Berry, the GM of the Browns, I am saying to Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel, here's the answers to the test. We have 2 first-round picks next year. Every day is a job interview. Convince us that we don't need a quarterback. And now with 2 ones with next year's draft with all those quarterbacks, we could get a generational haul. Earn this job every day. And
when the NFL shrugs off a rookie before he's even unpacked his gym bag, and that rookie shows up to humiliate everyone, you get Shedeur Sanders. The kid the league wasn't sold on just hijacked the Browns' preseason opener, turning it into his personal mixtape. Rex Ryan's dropping hot takes, the Panthers are kicking themselves, and the NFL looks like it tripped over its own shoelaces. This isn't just a recap, it's a full-on roast, with Sanders serving the punchlines in cleats.
And to Dan's point, he has earned the right for more reps, and clearly he has been studying because you can't play as fast as Dan showed without knowing what to do with the ball.
Week 1 of the NFL preseason just dropped something funnier and sharper than a Netflix comedy special, and it came with one headline, Shedeur Sanders. Yep, the same Shedeur scouts labeled a maybe, the one they figured would wobble through his first snaps like he needed training wheels. Instead, he showed up with 0 training wheels, no bike in sight, and casually took the Browns' offense for a joyride, doing donuts around the Panthers' defense. Every throw, every drive, felt like he was proving a point. This wasn't just a rookie debut. This was Shedeur planting the flag, spiking the mic, and walking off smiling.
Just when you watch that game, there were a couple moments, like 2 or 3 plays where you sit there and go, Shedeur, don't do it, because he's backpedaling and drifting. He's got to learn through that. But every report we've heard out of camp has been, man, he's been really impressive in practice, right? Everyone.
Picture this, Browns versus Panthers, preseason. Normally, it's the kind of game where half the crowd is busy Googling who's even playing. But the second Shedeur Sanders stepped on the field, the vibe shifted. People leaned forward. Even the beer guys paused mid-pour just to watch. By the final whistle, the Panthers' defense looked like they'd been chasing a squirrel through a corn maze, quick, frantic, and totally baffled. And here's the kicker, the Browns actually won. That alone is headline-worthy, but it's the how that's got Rex Ryan fired up and NFL Twitter melting down. Shedeur didn't just play well, he turned a forgettable preseason matchup into must-see football.
But overall, this was tremendous. You know, that's probably a little overstatement, but it was very good for him. I would give him a B+. I could see if someone wanted to give him an A- when you consider the circumstances. Like every 5th round pick is under some pressure in the preseason because you might not even make the team. But for him, like if he went out there and played poorly, couldn't get the offense under control, was bad at the line of scrimmage, made some bad throws, who knows what his future would have been.
Correct.
I mean,
The NFL, bless their overly cautious, corporate souls, loves playing gatekeeper on who's ready and who's not. You know the routine. Nitpicking arm angles, obsessing over pocket poise, and even docking points because a guy's handshake at the combine didn't feel like a construction worker's. That was the Shedeur Sanders scouting report in a nutshell. They watched his college tape, gave a polite nod, and basically said, nice, but let's not rush things. Then came week 1. Shedeur played like he'd been cashing NFL checks for years, firing quick reads, dropping laser-accurate throws, and moving in the pocket like he had GPS stitched into his helmet. His game management? Effortless. It was like watching someone breeze through a video game on hard mode, narrating the plot mid-play, and never breaking a sweat. By the end, it wasn't just a solid debut, it was a masterclass the league didn't see coming.
I like Rex. I don't think Ron has the right, and personality is not the right word to use.
The Panthers' defense might as well have been auditioning to play traffic cones, because the only thing they stopped all night was their own morale. By the second quarter, you could read it in their body language, that quiet, sinking oh no expression defenders get when they know they're about to end up in someone else's highlight reel. Rex Ryan nailed the post-game breakdown. He didn't just praise Shedeur, he basically mailed the NFL a smug told you so card. Rex has seen enough football to know the difference between a guy riding a hot streak and one who truly belongs. And in his eyes, this wasn't about flashes of potential. This was a young quarterback stepping in with the kind of poise, precision, and presence you expect from someone who's been running the show in the NFL for years, and making it look easy.
Diana, most interesting thing in preseason week number 1 was what?
How different the league feels about Shedeur Sanders' performance compared to the rest of us.
Funny.
Chase, my colleague on Scoop City, quarterback, 14 years, studies film like a lunatic. He's like an Orlovsky. Loves it. Like, just consumes this stuff.
And let's talk about confidence, because Shedeur has the kind that makes coaches lean forward in their chairs. You can teach mechanics, you can drill footwork, but you can't fake that unshakable, calm demeanor under pressure. That's the stuff that makes the difference between being the backup we kind of like and being the guy we build an offense around. Now, let's sprinkle in some comedy here because the NFL's reaction is too good not to laugh at. All offseason, they had experts ranking rookies like they were judging a baking competition. Shedeur was basically the cute little pie they thought wouldn't rise in the oven. Week 1 comes around and boom, 5-star souffle, baby. The NFL is standing there holding the recipe card upside down wondering what happened. The Browns fan base? Oh, they're already writing Shedeur's name in Sharpie on custom jerseys. Cleveland hasn't been this excited about a quarterback since the last time they got excited about a quarterback, which was probably about 4 months before he got traded, benched, or both. But this feels different. This feels like a guy who could actually deliver without making the whole thing a soap opera.
This is the thing I loved about Rex Ryan. This is a personal story. Like, Rex Ryan would not want to hear what you couldn't do. He wants to know what you can do. And he's going to set you up on it.
And that's why the Panthers should be sending Shedeur a fruit basket, because he just gave them the kind of publicity they haven't had since Cam Newton was dabbing on people. Unfortunately for them, it's the wrong kind of publicity. Panthers fans didn't leave that stadium talking about their team's areas of improvement. They left talking about how some rookie just danced through their defense like it was a homecoming parade. There was one moment, and Browns fans know exactly what I'm talking about, where Shedeur dropped back, the pocket started collapsing, and instead of panicking, he just shifted, set his feet, and delivered a laser right between 2 defenders. It was the kind of throw that makes you stop mid-snack and go, wait, did he just do that? And the crazy thing is, he made it look casual. Like he does this before breakfast. Rex Ryan pointed out that the key here isn't just physical talent, it's processing speed. Shedeur isn't holding the ball like it's a ticking time bomb. He's scanning, deciding, and executing in seconds. That's the difference between rookies who drown in NFL defenses and rookies who make defenses drown in their own mistakes. But you know who's not thrilled about this? The NFL talking heads who said he'd struggle. They're out here doing damage control like, it's just preseason, it doesn't mean anything. Right. And I suppose the Super Bowl doesn't mean anything if you play it in February. We know what this is, it's the early warning shot that Shedeur Sanders isn't here to be good for a rookie. He's here to be good, period.
So the Cleveland reporters finally asked Dillon Gabriel the narrative that's been spinning around his name. You know, he processed the information completely better than the rest.
Cleveland's offense looked energized in a way it hasn't in a long time. The receivers were sharper, the line was giving him just enough time, and Shedeur was putting the ball where only his guys could get it. It's the kind of rhythm that makes an offense dangerous, even if the playbook is still in preseason mode. Of course, we can't ignore the comedy gold of watching Panthers fans slowly realize what was happening. First quarter? They're polite. Second quarter? They're grumbling. Third quarter? They're on their phones looking up fantasy football waiver wire options, because clearly, this is not the year. By the fourth quarter, they're just praying it ends before they have to see another rookie QB flexing on their defense. And here's the final kicker, Shedeur didn't even look like he was trying to prove the NFL wrong. That's the beauty of it. He wasn't out there playing with a chip on his shoulder. He was out there playing like the game already belonged to him. That's what's got Rex Ryan smiling like he just found free snacks in the locker room. Bottom line, the NFL can spin it however they want, but the tape doesn't lie. Shedeur Sanders walked into his first preseason game, treated it like it was his backyard scrimmage, and walked out with a win, a fanbase, and a whole lot of people suddenly rethinking their scouting reports. And if this is what he's doing in week 1 of preseason, I can't wait to see what happens when the games actually count. Browns fans, you might want to start practicing your victory parades. Panthers fans, you might want to start practicing your deep breathing exercises.
He can play. He can play.
One other thing, we talked about this last week, no self-inflicted wounds. There weren't pre-snap penalties, no delays, and that to me, again, shows that it's not too big for him.
I am right, so infrequently.
Because the NFL just got its first taste of Shedeur Sanders, and something tells me they're about to get a lot more. If you were an NFL GM who passed on Shedeur Sanders or thought he wasn't worth the hype, you might want to call in sick this week. Not because your team doctor recommends it, but because you're about to hear his name on every sports show, podcast, and bar conversation from here to next year. The Browns didn't just beat the Panthers, they introduced the league to a quarterback who plays like he's been secretly running an NFL offense in his basement for the last 5 years. And the thing is, this wasn't one of those he's got raw talent, just needs polished debuts. This was polished. This was smooth. This was like showing up to a casual party in a tuxedo and still somehow making everyone else look underdressed. Shedeur wasn't rattled. He wasn't panicking. He wasn't out there looking for the nearest sideline to dump the ball. Instead, he read the defense, adjusted protections, and delivered throws that had the Browns receiving core grinning like they'd just won the lottery. And trust me, when you've been a Browns receiver for the last few years, a quarterback who can actually hit you in stride is the sports equivalent of hitting the Powerball. Rex Ryan knows quarterback play, and he could barely contain himself breaking this down. He pointed out how Shedeur's pocket movement wasn't just random scrambling. It was deliberate. Step up, slide left, reset, boom, completion. That's veteran behavior. Most rookies in week 1 look like they're playing "The Floor is Lava" and the pass rushers are the lava. Shedeur? He looked like he was directing traffic in a parking lot. Calm hand gestures, no rush, everyone ends up exactly where they need to be.
You always want results, but I think more than anything it's consistent results. So if you don't have a process you can truly hang your hat on, then you're leaving up to chance, or maybe it's more inconsistent rather than having a strong process. And of course, you know how the game of football goes. There's a lot of positives. There may be some negatives, but there's also something to priding yourself on your process and how you work and how you approach it. And for me, I think you build up that process and you want to see results, and it will come. And definitely know that, like I just said, it's a results-based business, so you got to go do it. And that's why we always talk about no excuses.
And speaking of rushers, the Panthers' front seven came into this game looking to feast on a rookie. They left looking like they'd been served humble pie, and not even the warm, sweet kind. I'm talking cold, unsalted, cafeteria-style humble pie. By the third quarter, it was like they'd accepted they weren't getting to him. You could almost see the thought bubbles over their heads. All right, fine. Let's just make sure we're in the frame when he makes the highlight reel, so maybe our moms will see us on TV. You know how sometimes an NFL quarterback will make a throw so clean that it forces even the opposing defense to nod like, yeah, that's fair? That happened multiple times. Cornerbacks who started the game jawing at the line of scrimmage were dead silent by halftime. One of them even helped him up after a play like, "My bad, man. You're doing your thing." Cleveland hasn't had this kind of rookie quarterback buzz since, well, let's just say it's been a while. The dog pound is already in love. And it's not just because he can throw, it's because he's playing smart football. We've seen plenty of QBs with cannons for arms flame out because they couldn't stop throwing into double coverage. Shedeur isn't out there testing his luck. He's out there testing the defense's patience.
It's only 1 week. It's a little early. We don't want to get too carried away. But who had a better weekend this weekend than Mel Kiper Jr.? I don't know if he was on the Chesapeake Bay or where he was in Baltimore eating crabs, but I do know that the one player that he touted all through the draft shined on Friday night.
That third quarter drive? Pure art. the Browns were backed up near their own goal line. In most rookie scenarios, this is where you see a 3-and-out faster than you can say punt formation. Not here. Shedeur calmly moved the chains with short, precise throws, mixing in just enough misdirection to make the Panthers linebackers question their life choices. By the time they crossed midfield, the defense was already gasping for air. The drive ended with a touchdown that felt inevitable, like the Panthers were just passengers on the Browns scoring train. And let's pause to appreciate the Browns' offensive line for a second. They know when they've got someone worth protecting. You could see it in the way they were holding blocks just that fraction of a second longer. When you have a quarterback who's making plays, you'll dig a little deeper, push a little harder, and take that extra step to make sure he stays clean. Now, there's a delicious irony here. The NFL has been talking all summer about rookies to watch, and somehow Shedeur Sanders kept getting mentioned with the football equivalent of a we'll see shrug. Meanwhile, we've got other rookies who got hyped up like the second coming of Joe Montana and have spent preseason overthrowing open receivers by 10 yards. One guy in the NFC looked like he was trying to complete passes to the concession stand. But Shedeur? Cool, composed, efficient. And that's got to sting for the "it's just preseason" crowd. That phrase is like the NFL's version of "it's not you, it's me." Translation: we were wrong, but we can't admit it yet.
What Shedeur did Friday night makes me anxious now to see Dillon Gabriel in the preseason, because I want to see what he can do. And look, if Dillon goes out there and he does what Shedeur did, I got no problem saying I was wrong. Then, okay, then Dillon's just a bad practice quarterback. Dillon very good on the whiteboard. Dillon very good at memorizing stuff. Dillon very good in games. He's a terrible practice quarterback. I would have no problem saying that. But right now, he's a terrible practice quarterback.
Well, here's the thing.
And yes, I know, preseason is about evaluation, not results. But you know what else it's about? Seeing if a guy can step onto an NFL field and not look like he wandered in by accident. Shedeur didn't just belong, he took over. That matters. The fans in Cleveland are already dreaming big. Social media is full of clips, memes, and the occasional overly ambitious Super Bowl prediction. And while we should pump the brakes on January parades, it's hard not to get excited when a rookie quarterback makes this kind of first impression. Rex Ryan also hit on something important: leadership. Even in the huddle, Shedeur wasn't timid. He wasn't asking permission to make plays. He was commanding the offense. And players feed off that. When your quarterback exudes confidence, you start believing every play can work, even the ones that shouldn't. And let's be honest, the Panthers' defensive playbook isn't exactly a walk in the park. They threw blitzes at him, disguised coverages, tried to bait him into rookie mistakes. Instead, he baited them. There was one play in particular where he looked off the safety so convincingly that the poor guy might still be running in the wrong direction as we speak. The pass? Completed for a first down like it was drawn up in a dream.